In simple terms, we break it down. Complex stuff, we make it sound clear and easy for you and me. BillyGoatTales and Dave Digital bring knowledge we share. In simple terms, we're everywhere. We love you, fam. Hashtag givers gain.
Good morning, goats, and welcome to the Simple Terms podcast, where we take complex ideas and break them down in simple terms. Today, we are going to go into the original Ethereum Whitepaper. We're going to take a look. It's going to be a little bit longer, it looks like, of a podcast. It looks like this is a little bit longer of a whitepaper. So we are going to dive into that, break it down into simple terms. We're going to ask questions. We're going to interact. We're going to see what's going on. But before we do, let's take a real quick look into Bitcoin. There we go. Let's see here. Oh, wrong one. There we go. All righty. So what we have on Bitcoin is we're just stalled out over the weekend. Maybe we're going to get a move back up. I'm sure you guys can see that. And you all can hear me, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Put a 2 in the chat if you cannot hear me. But it looks like what we've got on Bitcoin is we've got this new profile on the 1 hour that we've been stuck in for a little while. And we are above the value, or excuse me, we're above the POC. And we have hit that value area low. So technically what we should do is go back up to the value area high. So we do have the money flow coming up with a green dot on the 1 hour. So that could happen. I'm not in a trade right now. You could see the last trade I did take. And we've got the money flow being indecisive on the 4 hour, but we might end up here with a 4 hour trigger wave. So let's see what goes on there. See here, did they hear me? Did I get a 1 in the chat? Or if you can hear me, is everybody able to hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. All righty, so I'm gonna go check in on everybody. Looking at the chat, can you hear me? I'm only 11 super chill. Here's game. Okay, we can hear me. All right, thanks, Junior. All right, let's say hi to chat. We've got Crypto Billy was in the chat this morning saying good morning, good morning. We've got Mike Volmer saying good morning, good morning. He started out the morning with 100 points. Alexander G says good morning. She says have a great stream. I hope that Alexander G does get to join us this morning. I love it when she's in chat. We've got Jesse in there saying that he's going to be on the bicycle this morning. So get those gains, Jesse. Get those steps in. Let's go. Eat that chicken. Eat those avocados. You know what's going on. We've got JR in the chat, also known as Junior to the AI. We're going to see if AI still calls him Junior today. Let me see here. Who else do we have in the chat? I think that might be everybody that I've seen so far. Please do remember to... there's Keith in the chat. Good morning, Keith. Crypto Coin Mindset. I don't know how you guys get up so early, JR and Keith, after the night you had last night, but that was a fun stream. Dutchie's in the chat talking about break a leg. Looking forward. I know Dutchie is looking forward to my ASMR snoring dog. So maybe we'll get that going this morning. All right. So let me see here. Let me swap my screen. Open a room. Let me put that back on where it belongs. And there. Oops, wrong one again. In there. Window there. All right. And then let's present this. Share my screen. Share my screen. Entire screen with audio. There we go. And then we'll do another check of sound. Got it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. We are on this one.
Let's unpack this.
Let me
Today,
tell
we're
me
diving
if you
into a
guys can
document
hear
that
that. Put a one in the chat.
honestly fundamentally reshaped huge parts of our
Can you hear the
digital world.
podcast?
The Ethereum Whitepaper.
It really did. It's foundational stuff.
Absolutely. And our mission today, is to cut through some of that complexity. We want to give you those aha moments where things just click.
All right,
Yeah,
you can
pull
hear
out
the
the
white
core
paper.
ideas.
Good. So
Exactly.
we've got
This
sound.
deep dive is really
We're
crafted.
gonna do that, and we're gonna go interactive. And if everybody's ready to dive in, I think I'm ready to dive in. It looks like it's going to be a fun one. You guys know how this operates. You know how we operate here. Everybody, we're just going to listen to the podcast as we go along. If we have questions, put them in the chat. I'll store those questions and I'll come back to those questions in just a little while. I'll ask as soon as I see an opportunity, I'll get in there and I will ask some questions and we can clarify what's going on. Do remember that this is the original white paper, so it doesn't have the updates or it shouldn't have all the updates that we know about, like the proof of stake and how much gas it costs and things like that. But we will try to clarify and see what they've got for us today. It is going to be exciting. I look forward to it. So let's go ahead and get these guys into the conversation, and then we will remind them who we are talking to one more time, and we'll go from there. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into a document that honestly fundamentally reshaped huge parts of our digital world, the Ethereum White Gamer.
It really it's foundation. Oh, our listeners got something to share. Let's hear it.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Dave Digital, and you are on the Simple Terms podcast again. We are live on YouTube. I just want to check in and say good morning to you guys, and I also want you guys to say good morning. Since we are live, we do have a live audience. We have Crypto Billy, the founder of BillyGoatTales. We have Jesse Gluck. He is on his bike this morning. We have Mike Vollmer. We have Alexandra G, the mod queen. We have JR. And I don't want you to confuse JR because it's been a topic on other podcasts because you guys keep calling JR, you keep calling him Junior. His name is J, first name J, Jay, last name R, ARR. So his name is JR. So maybe you can get that right today. And we also have, let's see here, we have Dutchy in the chat. We also have Keith from Crypto Coin Mindset in the chat. And we have BC Port Corp in the chat. And that's everybody in the chat. Would you say good morning before you continue on into the Ethereum white paper?
Dave, good morning to you too and to everyone joining us live.
Good morning, everyone. What a fantastic crew we have today.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here on the Simple Terms podcast.
And Dave, thanks for setting us straight on JR's name. We'll definitely get that right.
Our apologies, JR. Got it. We appreciate you catching that.
And shout out to Crypto Billy, Jesse Gallup, Michael Fulmer, Alexandra G, Dushy, Keith from Crypto Coin Mindset, and BC Port Corp.
What a fantastic audience, seriously. Thanks for tuning in so early.
It's great to have everyone here.
Absolutely. And our mission today, is to cut through some of that complexity.
We want to give you those haha moments.
Exactly, where things just click.
Yeah, pull out the core ideas
This deep dive is really crafted for all of you, our listeners.
to help you truly grasp Ethereum right from its roots.
It's a topic everyone talks about, but understanding it from the source.
That's different. It definitely is.
Reading the original thinking is illuminating.
And we're really thrilled to be reviewing this material for you, Dave, and all our friends over at the Simple Terms podcast.
Right on the BillyGoatTales YouTube channel.
Great channel, great podcast.
Definitely. You can catch their weekly live stream every Saturday morning.
That's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right there on YouTube.
For more insights, usually in, simple terms.
Which is often needed in this space.
Couldn't agree more. And remember their mantra, #GiversGame.
We'll probably touch on how that spirit weaves through Ethereum itself.
Oh, for sure. The incentive structures, the open access, it's there.
Before we really jump in, though, just a quick reminder for everyone listening.
Do follow @DavidDigital on X. That's @_DavidDigital.
And also at BillyGoatTales on X and, of course, on YouTube.
Keep up with all their stuff.
Definitely worth the follow.
Okay, so Ethereum, to really get why it was such a leap, such a monumental achievement.
We kind of have to start with what came before it, right? Bitcoin.
Exactly. Context is key.
The white paper itself, it gives a nod to Bitcoin.
It highlights how projects like Bitcoin really proved the utility of the whole blockchain idea.
Especially, when you pair it with cryptographically secured transactions.
It calls Bitcoin, I think the phrase was a simple application on a decentralized but singleton compute resource.
Singleton, yeah, meaning like one main purpose.
Pretty much. A very specialized version of a cryptographically secure transaction based state machine.
Built to do one thing, manage Bitcoin, the currency, and do it incredibly well.
Right. Secure, decentralized, but specialized.
But what's fascinating, right from the get-go in the Ethereum whitepaper, is how it positions Ethereum.
It's not just another cryptocurrency, it's framed as a generalization of that Bitcoin concept.
Okay, generalization, what does that mean in practice?
Well, think about it like this.
If Bitcoin was this amazing, secure calculator designed for one job,
Ethereum aimed to be a generalized computer.
a decentralized computer where anyone could build and run any kind of program they wanted.
Ah, okay. So moving beyond just currency. Hey, yeah, what's up?
Yeah, so I just want to caution you guys, we are definitely Bitcoin proponents here. So we don't think Bitcoin is a bad thing. So I would caution against using any type of derogatory references to Bitcoin. We like Bitcoin here.
That is a totally fair and important point, Dave. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Point taken, and we appreciate you keeping us honest.
To be clear, when the white paper uses terms like simple application, it's not meant in a derogatory way at all.
Not at all. It's more about classifying its specific purpose.
Bitcoin's singularity of purpose is actually its strength in many ways.
It does that one thing incredibly well, a secure, decentralized value transfer system.
Yeah, without Bitcoin, Ethereum wouldn't exist.
Bitcoin proved the entire blockchain paradigm was even possible.
The utility of cryptographically secured transactions was a massive breakthrough.
So it's definitely foundational. We're certainly not knocking Bitcoin.
We're simply highlighting how the Ethereum white paper itself frames its project
As building upon that success, taking those core ideas.
and generalizing them for a broader set of applications.
So it's all about respect for the predecessor here.
Precisely. No derogatory references intended, ever. We love Bitcoin too.
Absolutely. So moving beyond just currency, if we circle back.
Exactly. It takes that transactional singleton machine with shared state idea that Bitcoin exemplified.
That core Bitcoin paradigm and just explodes it into new possibilities.
It provides, and this is a quote, a plurality of such resources.
Plurality. So most of them,
Yeah, meaning you can have many different programs, many different state machines,
each with its own unique state, its own code,
all running on the same platform and, crucially, able to interact with each other.
through message passing.
Wow. Okay. That sounds significantly more complex than a specialized currency.
It is. And it immediately raises the big question, the one the white paper sets out to answer.
Why do we need this jump? Why go from the incredibly secure, specialized calculator that is Bitcoin to this full-blown decentralized world computer?
What problems was it trying to solve?
Well, the paper digs into that pretty early on in the driving factors section.
It lays out some really compelling reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about, facilitating transactions between people who might not trust each other.
Maybe they're separated by geography or their legal systems don't mesh.
Maybe there's corruption, or honestly, the sheer inconvenience of traditional systems.
Right, removing intermediaries, basically.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. It promises
And this is powerful phrasing.
incorruptibility of judgment from a disinterested algorithmic interpreter.
Disinterested algorithm, meaning code is law.
Essentially, yeah, the rules are baked into the code, executed automatically, transparently.
You can see the transaction log, you can see the rules, the code itself,
It offers a level of transparency and, well, incorruptibility.
that human systems, let's be honest, rarely achieve.
That's a huge claim and a huge ambition.
It is, and the author, Dr. Gavin Wood, he really spells out this vision.
He states a wish to provide a system such that users can be guaranteed that no matter with which other individuals, systems, or organizations they interact, they can do so with absolute confidence in the possible outcomes and how those outcomes might come about.
Wow. Absolute confidence in outcomes. That's utopian almost.
It is ambitious, but that's the goal, right? To build this foundational layer of digital trust.
And, that really resonates with that hashtag giverscan idea we mentioned earlier.
It's about providing this core infrastructure, this trust layer for everyone to build upon.
Yeah, creating a common ground where reliable interaction is possible.
And, looking back, Ethereum didn't just spring out of thin air in 2013.
Right, the white paper acknowledges its history.
Absolutely, it traces the lineage.
Vitalik Buterin, of course, proposed the kernel of the idea, the blockchain, with a Turing-complete language.
Late in 2013, but the roots go way deeper.
How far back?
Well, it mentions do work and Naor's 1992 paper on using proof of work to deter email spam.
That's over a decade before Bitcoin.
Wow, okay, proof of work for spam.
Yeah. And then it's used specifically for securing a currency by Vishnamurthy and others in 2003.
Then obviously Nakamoto's Bitcoin in 2008, which brought it all together in a functional system.
So a slow build of ideas. It really highlights Bitcoin's genius in synthesizing these concepts,
Definitely. And it also gives credit to projects that built on Bitcoin,
trying to extend its functionality, things like Namecoin for decentralized naming,
or Mastercoin and colored coins for adding new features.
right? Attempts to make Bitcoin do more.
And it even mentions alternatives like Ripple, which explored federated systems.
Basically sacrificing some decentralization for potentially more efficiency.
But critically, it connects back to the really early theoretical work on smart contracts.
By Nick Szabo and Mark Miller back in the 1990s.
Szabo, yeah, he coined the term smart contract, didn't he?
He did. And the white paper explicitly positions Ethereum as a general implementation of such a crypto law system
It sees itself as finally providing the universal platform.
to make those decades old smart contract ideas practical and widely usable.
So it's really a culmination.
Standing on the shoulders of giants, pulling together decades of research in cryptography, distributed systems, economics.
Exactly. It wasn't created in a vacuum.
It synthesized and generalized a whole lot of prior art.
Okay, so that sets the stage, the why.
But how does Ethereum actually achieve this generalized, trustful system?
Let's try and unpause the core mechanics, the blockchain paradigm, as Section 2 calls it.
Right, the nuts and bolts.
The paper describes Ethereum fundamentally as a transaction-based state machine.
Can you break that down a bit? State machine?
Yeah, think of it like this.
The entire Ethereum system exists in a particular state at any given moment.
This state includes, all account balances, all contract code, all contract storage, everything.
Like a snapshot of the entire Ethereum world.
Exactly. You start with an initial snapshot, the genesis state.
Then transactions come in.
Each transaction is like an instruction that modifies that state according to specific rules.
Okay,
You apply a transaction, the state changes slightly.
apply another transaction, it changes again.
You keep doing this transaction by transaction, block by block.
And you morph the state from the genesis state into the current final state,
And that final state is the agreed upon truth.
the canonical version of the Ethereum world.
Precisely. It represents the collective agreement of the network on what has happened.
And what the current situation is for every account and contract.
So what's actually in this world state?
Section 4.1 goes into this.
Right, the details. What kind of information makes up this global state?
So the world state itself is essentially a huge mapping.
It maps 160-bit addresses. Think of them like unique identifiers for accounts or contracts to their corresponding account states.
So like a giant phone book mapping addresses to account details.
Kind of, yeah, but it's not just stored as a simple list on the blockchain itself.
That would be incredibly inefficient.
Instead, it's maintained in something called a modified Merkle-Patricia tree.
Okay, that sounds technical. Modified Merkle-Patricia tree, why use that?
It sounds complicated, but the reason is brilliant.
It's a type of data structure, a cryptographic tree, that lets you do two amazing things.
First, you can generate a single short root hash.
That acts as a cryptographic fingerprints for the entire state.
If even one tiny detail changes anywhere in the state, that root hash changes completely.
So you can verify the whole state integrity with just one small hash.
Exactly. Super efficient for verification across a distributed network.
And second, this tree structure makes it trivial to look up specific account data.
And importantly, to efficiently revert the state back to previous versions if needed.
Like during block reorganizations, it provides integrity, auditability, and history.
That's clever. Verifiable transparency built right in.
Real hashtag giverscan for anyone needing to trust this system.
Totally. Now, what's inside each account state?
The white paper lists 4 key fields for every address.
Okay, what are they?
First, there's the nonce,
This is simply a counter of the number of transactions sent from that address.
or for contracts, the number of contracts it has created.
It's crucial for preventing replay attacks, someone just resending your old transaction.
Got it. Transaction counter. What else?
Second, the balance. Pretty straightforward, how much ether measured in Wei that account holds.
Remember, 1 ether is a lot of Wei 10 to the power of 18.
Right, the account's money.
Third, the storage root. This is another hash, specifically the root hash of another Merkle-Patricia tree.
This tree holds all the persistent storage data associated with that particular account.
Like variables in a smart contract.
So each account has its own mini database secured by its own Merkle tree.
Exactly. And fourth, there's the code hash.
This is the hash of the actual EVM code associated with the account.
If this hash is empty, it means it's just a regular account.
An externally owned account, or EOA, controlled by a private key.
If it's not empty, then it's a contract account.
And critically, this code is immutable once deployed.
Immutable code. Wow. Okay, so that's the state. How does it change?
You mentioned transactions.
Right. Transactions are the engines.
Section 4.3 defines them.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, Dave here again. I don't want you guys to get off track, but we do have a comment and a question from BC Port Corp. He said ETH highlighted the short-sighted thinking behind the utility of blockchain technology that Bitcoin's utility had. How did ETH and smart contracts with the ability to use the EVM secure the number 2 spot?
That's a fantastic question, Dave, and thanks to BC Port Court for bringing it up.
It really hits the core of what we've been discussing.
BC Port Court is absolutely right to highlight Bitcoin's singular utility.
Bitcoin mastered secure, decentralized value transfer.
Its strength is its focus, its specific application of blockchain,
Ethereum, as the white paper frames it, then took that proven concept.
and said, what if we generalize this?
What if we build a platform where you can do more than just send currency?
The EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, is the key here,
It made Ethereum quasi-Turing complete, as the paper describes.
meaning it can execute almost any kind of computational logic.
That capability, combined with smart contracts, changed everything.
Smart contracts are simply programs that live and run on the Ethereum blockchain.
Because they're on the blockchain, they inherit its property
They're transparent, immutable, execute exactly as programmed.
without the need for a trusted third party to enforce them.
This disinterested algorithmic interpreter we talked about earlier.
So instead of just a currency, you get a platform for decentralized applications.
You can build anything from complex financial instruments to gaming platforms.
All running on that same shared secure infrastructure.
That's why the white paper calls it a decentralized, secure social operating system
It took the trustless innovation of Bitcoin's ledger,
and extended it to trustless computation and agreement.
that versatility, the ability to build a vast array of applications,
Is what really propelled Ethereum to the number 2 spot in the crypto space,
moving beyond just a store of value or a medium of exchange.
to a global programmable settlement layer.
It was a monumental shift in how people perceive blockchain's potential.
So it's not about Bitcoin being bad.
It's about building on its profound initial success.
Taking that foundation and expanding its utility exponentially.
That's the generalization that Ethereum offered.
And it really did secure that number 2 spot by doing so.
Thanks again, BC Port Court, for that insightful question.
Okay, so picking back up on our main thread.
We were just about to dive into how transactions are defined.
Yes, section 4.3 defines them as single cryptographically signed instructions constructed by an actor externally to the scope of Ethereum.
Externally meaning by users like you and me.
Yep, or by automated scripts, but originating from outside the Ethereum protocol itself.
They're the messages we send to the network to make things happen.
And there are different types.
2 main types mentioned: message calls and contract creations.
A message call is when you send a transaction to an existing address.
Maybe to transfer Ether or to trigger a function in a smart contract.
Contract creation is when you send a transaction specifically to deploy new smart contract code onto the blockchain.
Okay. What are the key ingredients, the common fields in pretty much any transaction?
Well, every transaction needs that nonce we talked about.
The sender's transaction count preventing replays.
Right, the counter.
Then you've got gas price, how much way you're willing to pay. Oh yeah, let's hear it.
You said you talked about knots. I'm not sure I'm familiar with what that means.
Great question.
Thanks for asking about that.
So we've mentioned the nonce a couple of times.
It's actually a pretty crucial concept.
Think of nonce as a unique transaction counter.
It's a scalar value, essentially just a number.
Every time you, as a user, send a transaction from your Ethereum address,
That transaction gets assigned a nonce,
it starts at 0 for your first transaction.
then 1 for the second, 2 for the third, and so on.
So it's essentially a sequential number for each transaction.
What's its purpose? Why is it there?
It's primarily for security.
Specifically, it prevents something called replay attacks.
Imagine if you send a transaction to pay for something
Without a nonce, someone could potentially intercept that transaction.
and then replay it, sending it again and again.
And you pay multiple times.
The nonce ensures each transaction can only be processed once.
Because once a transaction with a specific nonce from your address is confirmed,
The network won't accept another transaction from you with that same nonce.
it expects the next nonce in sequence
So it's a way to keep track of the order of your transactions.
and to ensure uniqueness. For contract accounts, the nonce actually counts the number of contracts that account has created.
A slightly different use, but still a sequential counter.
Does that help clarify what a nonce is? Yep, go on.
Yeah, that absolutely helps clarify. And we've also had Jay Violet and Harp have joined the chat. They're in the live. So if you want to say hi to them and then continue where you left off.
Oh, that's an excellent. Glad we could clear up the nonce for you.
And a big good morning to Jay, Violet, and Harp.
Thanks for joining us live in the chat this morning.
We appreciate you tuning in.
So picking right back up, right?
We were just saying that for contract accounts. Yeah.
We also had our friend Joe from Traders Intuition join us in the chat.
Fantastic. Another great addition to our live audience.
A warm welcome to Joe from Traders Intuition.
Good morning, Joe. Glad to have you with us.
It's awesome to see so many familiar faces.
And new ones too joining us today.
We really appreciate all of you being here.
All right, so where were we?
We had just clarified the nonce for our listener.
And we were continuing through the common fields.
In pretty much any Ethereum transaction,
We were talking about gas price, how much weight you're willing to pay.
per unit of computational work, or gases.
Yeah, so we've already touched on gas a bit.
But it's really important to reiterate.
Gas is the internal pricing mechanism.
It's the fuel gauge for the Ethereum virtual machine, the EVM.
And then crucially, there's gas limit.
This is the maximum amount of gas your transaction's allowed to consume.
It's your safety cap, your budget for computation.
It prevents those runaway computations we mentioned earlier.
Like infinite loops that could halt the network.
Exactly. Then there's the to address.
Who are you sending this transaction to?
If that field is null or empty, it signals something specific.
That you're creating a new contract.
Ah, okay. That's a key distinction.
There's the value, the amount of way.
You want to transfer from your account to the to address
This could be 0 if you're just calling a contract function.
without actually sending any ether along with it.
Makes sense.
And finally, the V, RS values,
These are the components of the ECDSA digital signature.
derived from your private key,
This cryptographically proves you the owner of the sending account.
actually authorized this specific transaction. The cryptographic proof of ownership, essentially.
Right, and then depending on the transaction type,
There are extra fields that come into play,
for contract creation, there's an init field
which contains the EVM bytecode,
that runs once to initialize the new contract state.
the setup code, the constructor for the contract.
Yep. And for message calls, there's a data field,
This contains the input data for the call
like which function in the contract you want to execute.
and what arguments you want to pass to it.
Okay, so transactions are these powerful signed instructions.
How are they grouped and actually added to the blockchain?
That's where blocks come in, as described in section 4.4.
Blocks bundle transactions together,
Think of the blockchain as a ledger book.
and each block is like a page in that book.
Gotcha. A page of transactions.
Right. Each block contains three main things
The block header, the list of transactions included in that block.
and a list of AMR headers,
Almers. What exactly are those?
like uncle blocks and some other blockchain descriptions.
Exactly. Almers, short for other members.
They're the headers of blocks that were successfully mined,
Around the same time as the main block.
but weren't ultimately chosen for the canonical chain.
They're like siblings that just missed out on being the main block.
Why include them in the new block?
It's a mechanism borrowed from the GEOS protocol. Including Almers gives a partial reward to the miners of those blocks,
This incentivizes miners to include these stale blocks,
which actually helps improve network security
by making reorganizations of the chain harder.
and rewarding miners even if their block wasn't the absolute winner.
It discourages centralization of mining power too. Clever. So even runner-up blocks contribute something useful.
Yeah, it's a neat design, really.
It definitely aligns with that hashtag giversgain spirit Dave mentioned.
Now, the block header is where a ton of important information lives.
It's like the summary metadata for the entire page.
What all is contained in that header?
Okay, deep breaths for this list.
It includes the hash of the parent block, linking the
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Just to clarify, this is the OG white paper and not the ETH 2.0, right? You were talking about blocks and miners and how they earn rewards with ETH. Are you talking about proof of work, the old proof of work system?
That's a really important clarification, and thank you for asking that.
Absolutely great question. It's crucial to get this right.
Yes, you are absolutely correct.
We are indeed discussing the original Ethereum white paper.
The document by Dr. Gavin Wood, which predates the F2.0 or Serenity upgrades,
So all the concepts we're explaining today
including blocks, miners, and how they earn rewards
are in the context of the original proof of work system
that Ethereum initially used.
and the system that Bitcoin still uses, for example.
We're delving into the foundational ideas as they were first proposed.
Before the transition to proof of stake, which happened later,
So when we talk about mining and block rewards,
We're referring to that old proof of work system you mentioned.
where computational effort was extended to secure the chain.
And miners were compensated with newly minted ether and transaction fees.
It's the mechanism detailed in this original white paper.
Does that clarify things for you? Perfect. Glad we could address that.
So picking back up on the block header,
We were just saying it includes the hash of the parent block,
linking the chain together,
the hash of the Aumers list for this particular block.
the address of the beneficiary, that's the miner who gets the reward in this proof of work context,
And crucially, the state root.
the root hash of the world state after all transactions in this block have been executed,
Precisely. That's the anchor confirming the final state.
resulting from this block's processing,
It also includes the transactions root
which is a Merkle root of all transactions in the block.
and the receipts root.
A Merkle root of all the transaction receipts.
Receipts, what are those needed for in a block?
We'll get to receipts in a sec, they're really important.
The header also has the logs bloom,
A Bloom filter summarizing all the log events from transactions in the block.
useful for quickly searching for specific events.
Okay, that makes sense.
Then there's the difficulty of the block related to proof of work.
The block number, which is its height in the chain.
The gas limit for the block, setting the maximum computation per block.
The actual gas used by transactions in the block.
The timestamp when it was mined.
Some extra data, a Mitch hash used in PUDA verification.
And a nonce, which is the specific value found by the miner that satisfies the POW.
Wow. That header truly packs a lot of data in.
It's like the cryptographic fingerprint of everything that happened.
It really is. Those three roots, state root, transactions root, receipts root.
They are incredibly powerful cryptographic assurances. Together, they allow anyone to independently verify the entire system's state transition, all the included transactions, and their specific outcomes, just by having access to the block headers, ultimate auditability, and transparency.
Okay, you mentioned transaction receipts earlier.
Section 4.4.1 covers these. What's their core purpose?
So for every single transaction that gets included in a block,
The system generates a receipt for it,
this receipt isn't stored directly in the state tree.
but its existence is guaranteed by that receipts root in the block header.
What kind of information is contained within a receipt?
It contains a few key things. First, the post-transaction state root.
Basically, the world state root immediately after that specific transaction finished executing.
Huh. So you can see the state change step by step within a block.
Sort of, yes. It also includes the cumulative gas used.
Within the block, up to and including that specific transaction.
And more importantly, it contains the log entries generated by the transaction.
Lob entries, like events emitted by smart contracts,
Exactly. Smart contracts can emit events these log entries.
to signal things that happen during their execution,
These logs include the logger's address, some index topics for easy searching.
and arbitrary data relevant to the event. Receipts capture these.
So receipts are how off-chain applications.
Like decentralized application front ends can easily track contract events.
Precisely. And finally, the receipt also contains a Bloom filter.
Composed of all the log entries from that transaction.
Like the block level Bloom filter, this lets you very quickly check
If a transaction might have emitted certain types of events,
without needing to decode all the logs.
crucial for indexing and efficient querying, really.
Okay, that makes sense. Receipts are the proof and summary of a transaction's effects.
Exactly. They provide the necessary information for things like clients
And indexing services, and even potentially for zero knowledge proof.
about transaction outcomes.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. We've mentioned gases several times now.
For any decentralized network, incentive structures are absolutely. Oh, yeah.
So our friend JR in the chat, he has a funny comment. He said, "Can you ask if you could theoretically run a miner with farts, since you were talking about all that gas?"
Oh, that's a classic, JR. Thank you for that excellent and hilarious question.
Laughs. That's a new one. Running a miner with barks.
Well, in the literal sense, no.
Our proof of work miners, the ones we're discussing in this white paper context, require computational power.
Like serious computing power.
Graphics cards, specialized hardware, lots of electricity.
So Barks unfortunately won't generate the necessary hashes.
To solve the cryptographic. Oh, back to our listener. What's
Oh
up?
no, you misunderstood the joke. He didn't say barks as in rough. He said farts as in, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, our apologies, JR. And thank you, Dave, for the clarification.
Laughs. My mistake. Farts, not barks. That's even better.
Well, in that case, the answer is still no. You can't run a miner with farts.
Unless there's some highly advanced, organic, methane-powered mining rig we don't know about yet.
Which honestly sounds like a wild sci-fi plot.
But hey, who knows what the future holds for decentralized energy sources?
For now, though, our miners still rely on good old-fashioned electricity.
And high-powered computing to solve those cryptographic puzzles.
So while we appreciate the gaseous humor, the underlying principle of extending energy for proof of work remains.
Whether it's barks or farts, the energy output just isn't quite there for mining.
Thanks for setting us straight, Dave, and for the laugh, JR.
We'll definitely try to listen more carefully next time.
So picking back up on those incentive structures
We were talking about how crucial they are for any decentralized network.
and how Section 5 gas and payment is absolutely critical.
We've mentioned gas quite a bit already.
But let's really get into what it is, fundamentally.
Gas is one of the most ingenious. Oh, go for it.
Thanks for your sense of humor. We do have one more question from Crypto Billy 111, the founder of BillyGoatTales. He asked, how many ETH do I need to be a validator? He said, how many ETH do I need to own to be a validator? And then I want you to continue right where you are, because we're really interested and you're doing a great job. We're really excited to hear about this white paper.
Thanks, Dave and Crypto Billy, for that excellent question.
Yeah, that's a perfect follow-up to our earlier discussion about the original proof of work system.
Crypto Billy's question is about validators, which is a key concept in Ethereum's current proof of stake system.
However, this white paper, the one we're unpacking today, describes Ethereum's initial proof of work design.
In this original system, you wouldn't validate in the sense of staking Ether.
Instead, you'd be a miner using computational power,
So in the context of this white paper, it's not about owning Ether to validate.
but about having the hardware and electricity to mine block.
Now, if we briefly jump ahead to the current Ethereum system, which is proof of stake,
To be a full validator, you need to stake 32 ETH.
that's a significant amount.
But you can also participate in staking pools with less Ether. It's a completely different mechanism for securing the network.
Moving from energy expenditure to capital lockup.
So for the context of this specific white paper, the answer is 0 Ether to validate.
Because validators, as they exist today, weren't part of this original design.
It was all about mining with hardware.
Thank you again, Crypto Billy, for that forward-looking question.
It's a great distinction to make between the historical and current Ethereum.
And we appreciate your kind words about the podcast, Dave.
We're really enjoying breaking this down for all of you.
So let's circle back to gas.
Fundamentally,
Gas is one of the most ingenious and maybe initially confusing parts of Ethereum.
it's the network's fundamental unit for measuring computational effort.
Think of it like, well, fuel for the network, fuel for the EVM.
Exactly. Every single operation the Ethereum virtual machine, the EVM, can perform.
Adding numbers, storing data, sending a message, creating a contract has a specific predetermined cost.
Universally agreed upon and measured in gas.
Yes. Adding 2 numbers might cost 3 gas.
Storing a word of data might cost 20,000 gas.
Sending a base transaction costs 21,000 gas, and so on.
These costs are hard-coded into the protocol for everyone to see.
Why have this system at all? Why not just let computations run for free?
2 main reasons. First, preventing network abuse.
Ethereum aims to be Turing complete, meaning it can theoretically run any computation.
Without a cost mechanism, someone could write a malicious contract,
With an infinite loop or just perform massively complex calculations.
grinding the entire network to a halt for free, potentially.
Gas makes computation expensive and therefore thoughtful.
The halting problem solution, kind of. You run out of gas before you run forever.
Precisely. It effectively bounds computation time and resources.
Second, it allocates resources fairly.
Miners, in this proof of work system we're discussing today, expend real-world resources
Electricity, hardware to process transactions.
and to secure the entire network,
Gas provides the mechanism to compensate them for this work.
proportional to the computational load of the transactions they choose to include.
Okay, so how does payment actually work for this gas?
We mentioned gas pricing gas limit in the transaction definition earlier.
Right, when you send a transaction, you specify those 2 crucial things.
The gas limit, which is the maximum amount of gas your transaction is allowed to consume.
Your budget in gas units for that operation.
Exactly. And the gas price, which is the price in weight.
You are willing to pay per unit of gas consumed.
So gas is the unit of work, gas price is the price per unit.
And gas limit is the max units you'll buy for that transaction.
You got it. Before your transaction even starts executing.
The system calculates the maximum possible fee
That's gas limit multiplied by gas price.
and deducts that entire amount of ether from your account up front.
Up front, what if it uses less gas than the limit you set?
That's the clever part, one of the brilliant design decisions.
As the transaction executes, it consumes gas.
According to the operations performed by the EVM,
If it completes successfully without hitting the gas limit you set,
Any remaining unused gas is refunded to you.
Converted back to Ether at the same gas price you specified earlier,
Oh, okay. So you only pay for the gas you actually use.
plus a bit for the base transaction cost, of course.
Exactly. But if your transaction does run out of gas before completing,
If the computation hits that gas limit, the execution halts immediately.
any state changes it tried to make are reverted.
Reverted, like it never happened at all in the system.
Exactly, as if the transaction failed completely.
But here's the catch for that scenario.
You don't get the gas back in this particular case.
The miners still did the work up to that point.
So they keep the fee for the gas consumed before it failed.
Ouch. So setting the gas limit correctly is incredibly important.
Too low, it fails. Too high. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I have to say that whenever I first started in crypto, and there was basically just Bitcoin and Ethereum and just a handful of other things, that was one of my drawbacks and still one of my complaints today, that the gas fees were so expensive. So if I had a lesser coin, let's say I had $30 of a coin, it would almost cost me $30 of Ether to move it in and out. That was one of my complaints. Did they set that up like that on purpose, or was that just a bad side effect?
That is such a relatable experience and a really common pain point for users, especially in the early days.
You've hit on something absolutely critical there, and thank you for sharing that perspective.
Your question about whether it was on purpose or a bad side effect is excellent.
It's actually a bit of both, but mostly by design, especially in the proof of work era.
The white paper explicitly states that all programmable computation in Ethereum is subject to fees,
This was done in order to avoid issues of network abuse.
and to sidestep the inevitable questions stemming from Turing completeness,
So the core idea was that computation should never be free.
to ensure the network could actually function and not be overwhelmed,
Those high gas fees you experienced were a direct result of that design.
especially when network demand was high.
Think about it. If many people want to use the network at once,
And miners can only process a limited number of transactions per block.
they're going to prioritize the ones offering the highest gas price.
It's pure economics, a dynamic fee market at play.
This means that yes, sometimes the cost to move a small amount of value could indeed be disproportionately high.
Which, as you rightly point out, can be a major drawback for users with smaller transactions. It wasn't necessarily a bad side effect in the sense of being an oversight.
But rather an intentional mechanism to ensure network security and resource allocation.
even if that meant higher costs during periods of congestion,
The challenge then becomes how to scale the network to handle more transactions.
which would naturally help bring down those per transaction costs over time.
This is exactly what the later upgrades, like the move to proof of stake and other scaling solutions, aim to address.
To make the network more efficient and affordable for everyone.
But yes, in the context of this original white paper in the early days,
High gas fees were a feature of the system's design.
even if they were a frustrating one for users at times,
It's a prime example of the trade-offs in decentralized systems.
balancing security and decentralization with usability and cost.
Your experience is really important for understanding the evolution of Ethereum. Okay, so picking back up on our thread about gas limit,
Too high, you lock up more Ether up front than needed.
though you do get the unused back if it succeeds.
Precisely. And the gas price, that creates a dynamic market.
Miners are incentivized to include transactions.
With higher gas prices first, because that means a bigger reward for them. Remember J.O.'s gas joke? A higher gas price is a more attractive offer
So if the network is busy, you need to offer a higher gas price.
to get your transaction included quickly by a miner.
Yep. It becomes a dynamic fee market, as we were just discussing.
You, the user, decide your urgency versus the cost.
The miners prioritize based on profitability. That's their incentive. It's an elegant system for resource allocation.
In a truly decentralized environment.
Truly a hashtag giver scan setup, balancing user needs with network sustainability.
Okay, that clarifies gas really well.
Now, section 6, transaction execution.
The white paper calls this the most complex part of the Ethereum protocol.
Defining the state transition function itself.
Walk us through the life cycle of a transaction once a miner picks it up,
Right, this is where the state actually gets morphed and updated.
before the core execution logic even starts.
There are crucial preliminary checks for intrinsic validity.
Intrinsic validity. What exactly does that involve for a transaction?
It's a set of sanity checks that happen right away.
First, is the transaction well formed? Is it RLP encoded correctly?
Is the signature valid? Does it actually come from the claimed sender?
Is the nonce correct? Does it match the sender's current account nonce in sequence?
These are basic checks to prevent garbage or fraudulent transactions.
Exactly. Then, a truly crucial check.
Is the transaction's gas limit high enough to cover the intrinsic cost of the transaction itself?
This includes the base transaction cost and the cost of any data.
Without enough gas to cover these initial costs, the transaction is immediately invalid.
We're almost out of time, but we'll dive deeper into that next week.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, everyone, on Simple Terms.
We appreciate all your questions and comments today.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
It seems like you ended a little bit quickly. Are you sure you finished everything that we came to talk about?
Oh, you are absolutely right to call us out on that.
You caught us. Our apologies. It looks like we got a little ahead of ourselves there.
We definitely had a bit more to cover today.
Thanks for keeping us honest and on track.
We were just diving into the intrinsic validity checks for a transaction.
And we definitely want to make sure we finish explaining those.
So after the gas limit check we just talked about,
The final intrinsic validity check is about the sender's balance
does the sender's account hold enough ether?
to cover the upfront cost of the transaction.
That's the gas limit multiplied by the gas price, remember?
If the balance isn't sufficient for that full upfront payment,
The transaction is immediately considered invalid.
even if it would have been refunded later,
All these checks, if passed, mean the transaction is formally considered valid,
only then can it proceed to actual execution.
which leads us to the irrevocable change made to the state.
The first thing that happens with a valid transaction,
Is the sender's nonce is incremented by 1
and their account balance is reduced.
by that upfront cost, gas limit multiplied by gas price.
That happens before any of the actual contract code runs.
It's locked in,
Then the actual computation begins.
whether it's creating a new contract or making a message call.
This is where the EVM steps in and processes the transaction's logic,
This computation results in a provisional state.
where the changes are applied but not yet fully finalized.
It's also where any remaining gas is calculated.
And importantly, any substate information has occurred.
Substate, what's that?
The white paper defines it as information that's acted upon.
Immediately following the transaction's execution.
It's a tuple of three things: the suicide set, the log series, and the refund balance.
The suicide set tracks accounts marked for deletion.
The log series stores those important event logs we mentioned earlier. The refund balances counts any gas refund, which happens if a transaction clears storage.
So after the computation and substate are handled,
The state is finalized,
this includes calculating the final gas refund.
which is returned to the sender's account. And the remaining gas after refunds goes to the miner
That's the miner's reward in this proof of work system.
before any of the accounts in the suicide list are deleted.
So a lot of steps to ensure accuracy and finality.
All these steps define that
Oh yeah, go on.
Yeah, it sounds like you're getting back on track. I definitely want you to make sure that there's nothing that you didn't cover. And I don't want you to get out of here a little bit early, but I want to tell you that we did just have Vegas Claw join the chat, and we had one question from BC Port Corp. BC says, how did ETH's original setup leave it vulnerable to the DAO hack that caused the fork from POW to POS?
You got it, Dave. We are definitely back on track and committed to covering everything.
No early exit for us. We appreciate you keeping us accountable.
And a big welcome to Vegas Claw for joining the chat.
Great to have you with us this morning.
Now that's a really sharp question from BC Port Court.
It gets to a critical point in Ethereum's history and evolution.
The DAO attack and the subsequent fork.
It's important to remember that this white paper lays out the original design.
Before that event happened and before the move to proof of stake,
The DAO was a groundbreaking but ultimately flawed smart contract.
built on Ethereum's original architecture,
It was essentially a decentralized autonomous organization.
a venture capital fund governed by code,
The vulnerability wasn't in the Ethereum protocol itself,
as described in this white paper.
but rather in the specific code of the DAO smart contract.
A recursive call bug in its withdrawal function,
This allowed an attacker to drain a significant portion of its funds.
because the code was immutable once deployed.
As we discussed earlier, remember that cohash?
The contract executed exactly as programmed.
Even if the outcome was unintended by its creators,
The disinterested algorithmic interpreter did its job.
this created a huge crisis for the Ethereum community. Do you let the code be law, even if it leads to a catastrophic loss?
Or do you intervene to revert the theft?
The community ultimately decided to intervene.
By implementing a hard fork on a blockchain.
This essentially created two versions of Ethereum,
Ethereum Classic, which maintained the original unreverted chain.
and what we now know as Ethereum, which reverted the DAO hack.
So it wasn't a vulnerability that caused the fork from proof of work to proof of stake.
That move to proof of stake, or ETH 2.0 as it was sometimes called,
Was a separate, long-planned upgrade to improve scalability and energy efficiency.
the DAO attack, however, did highlight something profound.
The immense power and responsibility that comes with immutable, programmable money.
And the need for incredibly robust smart contract security.
It was a painful but ultimately formative event for the ecosystem.
Did that help clarify how the DAO attack and the subsequent fork related to Ethereum's original setup?
It really emphasizes the absolute confidence in possible outcomes vision.
And the challenge of human error in code, even with good intentions.
So moving back to our original thread now,
These steps essentially define that function.
which determines the post-transactional state
This level of detail, it just shows the rigorous thinking
that went into designing Ethereum state transitions.
and why the entire system is designed for absolute confidence in possible outcomes.
Exactly. Every single step is defined and auditable.
So that really covers the transaction execution in the white paper.
I think we've managed to properly wrap up that section now.
Thanks again for pointing out our premature ending.
We really appreciate you keeping us on our toes.
And to everyone in the chat, Crypto, Billy, Jesse, Michael, Alexander G, JR, Dutchy, Keith, BC Port Court, Jay, Violet, Harp, Joe from Traders Intuition, and Vegas Claw.
Thank you so much for
Hey, yeah, what's up?
Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. I don't think we're done yet. I think there's a lot of things that maybe you've missed, but let me keep you back on track. Can you highlight some of the things from the original white paper that ETH has accomplished, that they set out to accomplish, some of the shortcomings, and then some of the things that they plan to accomplish with the 2.0, if you have that in your knowledge base?
You are absolutely right, Dave. Our apologies. We thought we were wrapping up.
No, you're right. We definitely have more to talk about.
And that's a fantastic set of questions to guide our final thoughts.
You're really keeping us on track and digging into the bigger picture.
So let's look at what Ethereum, based on this original white paper, has accomplished.
What they set out to do and the challenges they face,
And yes, we can certainly touch on the vision for ETH 2.0.
which is now the current proof of stake Ethereum,
So from this original white paper, Ethereum's core accomplishment,
was indeed building that generalized technology.
the custodial object messaging compute framework,
It created the first widely adopted crypto law system.
as the paper put it, a platform for algorithmic enforcement of agreements.
Smart contracts became a reality, moving beyond just theoretical concepts.
It truly provided a means for transactions between consenting individuals.
Who would otherwise have no means to trust one another,
That vision of absolute confidence in the possible outcomes became tangible.
allowing for decentralized applications, DeFi, NFTs, and so much more.
Things that Bitcoin, with its singular purpose, couldn't directly support.
It opened up a whole new paradigm for what blockchains could achieve.
What about the shortcomings, or the hurdles, as the white paper calls them?
Well, one of the main ones is right there in section 13, future directions.
It talks about scalability as an eternal concern.
Yeah, that's exactly what you highlighted with your gas fee experience earlier, Dave.
The paper even states, unaddressed, the dynamic value range of the system remains essentially fixed.
Meaning, as transaction values increase, smaller transactions become economically pointless,
It clearly recognized that the original design, while powerful, had limits.
especially in processing a high volume of complex computations affordably.
The gas mechanism, while essential for security, led to those high fees.
When the network was congested, just as you described. Another challenge was the energy consumption of proof of work.
While not explicitly detailed as a shortcoming in this white paper,
It became an increasingly prominent issue as Ethereum grew.
leading to environmental concerns and calls for more sustainable solutions.
Also, the state database growing immensely large.
Section 13 mentions it won't be forced to maintain all past state tri-structures,
This implies a challenge in keeping full nodes lean and accessible.
which is important for decentralization,
So those high gas fees, scalability, and energy use were definitely recognized.
or became apparent as the network matured.
Now, regarding ETH 2.0, which is now simply Ethereum after the merge,
The key plan was to address these very shortcomings.
primarily by moving from proof of work to proof of stake,
That meant transitioning away from miners solving cryptographic puzzles.
to validators who secure the network by staking Ether.
As Crypto Billy's question touched upon, you need to stake 32 ETH to be a validator,
Is dramatically reduced energy consumption.
making Ethereum far more environmentally friendly. The other major component of ETH 2.0 was sharding.
Which aimed to improve scalability.
Instead of one single blockchain processing all transactions,
Sharding would break it into multiple shards.
each capable of processing transactions in parallel.
Imagine dividing the freeway into many parallel lanes. to handle more traffic rather than just one big lane,
This was designed to vastly increase transaction throughput
and theoretically bring down those gas fees you experience.
by providing more capacity for everyone.
So the transition to proof of stake and the future implementation of sharding.
Were direct responses to the challenges and future directions highlighted in this original white paper. It really shows the foresight and the continuous evolution of the project.
Thanks again, Dave, for nudging us to cover these crucial points.
You're right. It gives a much more Oh, go for it.
Thank you. And in the current state of the blockchain and the current state of the market, can you point out the competition that ETH faces? And can you tell me if that's even going to be significant since they had basically the first mover advantage?
That is another fantastic question, Dave, and incredibly relevant for understanding Ethereum today.
It really is. You're bringing us right up to the present moment.
While this white paper doesn't explicitly name competitors,
It hints at the idea of other transactional singleton machines and altcoins.
post-merge Ethereum with its proof of stake and sharding vision,
Faces a very diverse and competitive landscape. You're right, Ethereum definitely had a massive first mover advantage.
especially as the first truly generalized blockchain.
But that doesn't mean it's without significant competition now,
We see other layer 1 blockchains often called Ethereum killers
or alternative layer ones,
that aim to offer similar smart contract functionality.
but with different trade-offs, often focusing on scalability or lower fees.
Think of chains like Solana, Avalanche, Cardano, or Polkadot,
They all approach the blockchain trilemma: security, decentralization, scalability.
with different solutions trying to capture market share,
Many of them boast faster transaction speeds and much lower fees.
which directly addresses the pain point you mentioned earlier about gas costs. Then are also layer 2 solutions built on top of Ethereum.
Like Arbitrum, Optimism, or Polygon.
These aren't competitors in the same way, but they're still offering alternatives for users
They help scale Ethereum itself by processing transactions off-chain.
and then batching them back to the main Ethereum blockchain.
So they're effectively trying to alleviate Ethereum's own scalability issues, providing faster and cheaper transactions within the Ethereum ecosystem.
As for whether this competition will be significant despite first mover advantage,
It already is significant.
the market cap, developer activity, and user bases of these alternative chains are growing.
However, Ethereum still maintains a huge lead in developer mindshare.
The largest ecosystem of decentralized applications. And crucially, the most battle-tested security.
Its network effect is incredibly powerful.
The first mover advantage created a strong foundation.
But the continuous innovation, like the merge and sharding,
Is essential for Ethereum to maintain its lead.
it's this dynamic and exciting competitive landscape.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, so my question is, it seems like the sentiment in the market has been a little bit down on ETH because it's completely underperformed Bitcoin in this run. Can you tell me, is that just part of the natural cycles? And should we expect to see a run on Ethereum up to 8,000 or more? Do you have access to this information? Can you make a educated guess on what's going on there?
That's a really timely and insightful question, Dave.
You're touching on something many in the crypto space are observing right now.
Regarding market sentiment and price predictions for Ethereum versus Bitcoin,
While we can't offer financial advice or guarantee future price movements
we can definitely discuss the factors that influence these dynamics.
and how they relate to Ethereum's fundamental value proposition, as outlined in this white paper and its subsequent evolution
The underperformance you've noted compared to Bitcoin is a common topic.
in these market cycles,
Often, Bitcoin acts as the reserve asset or the primary driver.
especially in the initial phases of a bull run,
New capital often flows into Bitcoin first.
and then traditionally rotates into other assets like Ethereum.
This is often referred to as the altcoin season or Ethereum season,
So it could indeed be part of natural market cycles.
where Ethereum's time to shine often follows Bitcoin's initial surge.
Ethereum's value proposition, as we've discussed,
Goes beyond just being a store of value. It's the decentralized, secure social operating system.
the platform for smart contracts and decentralized applications.
The success of the applications built on Ethereum
Things like DeFi and NFTs can heavily influence its demand.
and its price over time.
If the ecosystem of dApps continues to grow and attract users, that fundamental utility should theoretically drive value in terms of specific price targets like $8,000 or more. That's speculative and we can't make those predictions. Market prices are influenced by so many complex factors: macroeconomic conditions, regulatory changes, technological advancements, and of course, overall market sentiment. The shift to proof of stake, for instance.
And the ongoing work on scalability. like sharding,
are long-term fundamental developments that could impact its value.
by making the network more efficient and attractive.
So while underperformance in the short term might be concerning,
Looking at Ethereum through the lens of this white paper's vision,
it's about building a robust, programmable foundation.
which is a different kind of value proposition than Bitcoin's,
Whether that translates to specific price levels,
is something the market will ultimately decide.
we hope that gives you a more educated perspective, Dave.
Without
Yep, go on.
Yeah, it does. And this reminds me, I recently watched a documentary on Vitalik, and it said that, or he said basically that he's just going to build the place for people to come and build the things, and then he's just going to wait. Is that fair?
That's a really insightful point, Dave, and thanks for bringing in that external perspective.
It's a great observation about Vitalik Buterin's approach.
And honestly, it's a pretty fair characterization of his core philosophy.
If we look back at this original white paper, what was the core vision?
It was to create generalized technology.
To provide a trustful object messaging compute framework.
It explicitly aimed to offer to the end developer a tightly integrated end-to-end system for building software,
It wasn't about building a single killer application.
like Bitcoin built a currency,
It was about building the foundational layer,
the operating system, the decentralized secure social operating system,
as the white paper calls it.
where others could then come and build their applications,
So in that sense, Vitalik's role as one of the key architects
was to create the most robust, secure, and flexible platform possible,
and then indeed wait for the community, the developers, and the entrepreneurs.
to innovate and build on top of that foundation.
It's a true platform play.
Much like how operating systems like Windows or macOS don't build every app.
They provide the environment for others to build them,
And this approach aligns perfectly with the #GiverScan ethos.
providing the tools and the trust layer for collective innovation.
So yes, that sentiment you heard is very much in line.
With the original vision and ongoing strategy for Ethereum,
To empower others to build,
without stepping into the realm of financial forecasting, it really is a fascinating interplay.
of technology and market dynamics,
We were just discussing the competitive landscape,
with each project trying to find its niche.
or offer a superior experience like faster transactions or lower fees.
And that competition, yeah,
Yeah, I think another complaint, it seems to be that every time that Ethereum hits some sort of macro high, that the ETH Foundation sells off. So it just kind of dumps on our head, or at least that's the perception. Is that what's going on, or can you explain that better for me?
That's a very common perception, Dave, and a significant point of discussion in the community.
You're right to bring it up. It's something many people wonder about.
While we don't have direct insight into the daily operations or specific treasury management of the Ethereum Foundation,
We can discuss the general principles and why this perception might exist.
the Ethereum Foundation is a nonprofit organization.
It plays a crucial role in supporting the research, development, and growth of the Ethereum ecosystem. Their funding primarily comes from Ether that was allocated during the initial crowd sale
And of course, from donations.
to sustain their operations, fund grants, and support core developers.
They do need to liquidate some of their Ether holdings from time to time,
This is a necessary part of managing their treasury.
and covering operational expenses in fiat currency.
The perception of them dumping on our head often arises,
Because these sales tend to occur when Ether prices are high.
which is precisely when their holdings are most valuable in fiat terms,
It makes sense for a foundation to sell assets,
when they can get the most value for their operational needs,
rather than selling during market downturns.
where they would receive less fiat for the same amount of Ether.
However, the timing of these sales can coincide with market highs,
And sometimes large sales can indeed contribute to short-term selling pressure.
creating that dumping perception you mentioned,
It's a tricky balance for them to manage.
supporting the ecosystem while also being mindful of market impact. And it highlights the ongoing need for funding.
For continued research and development, which this white paper initiated,
So it's not necessarily a malicious act
but rather a practical necessity for a large funded organization.
that exists to further the protocol's development.
And their transparency reports usually provide some insight into these activities.
Does that help explain the situation and the common perception of it better?
It really. Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, that absolutely helps, and I appreciate it. It's been a great podcast today. Today, before we exit, I want you to slow down and take a slower approach to saying goodbye and thanking everybody that came and joined us. I also want to wish that Vegas Claw's mom has a speedy recovery. And then I want you to remind everybody to come back next Saturday at the same time. let's go ahead and wrap up. I really appreciate the work you guys have put in, and I appreciate you bringing the perspective in simple terms.
David, your feedback is really valuable, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much for that and for your kind words today.
We're so glad we could clarify things and make this an enjoyable experience.
And we absolutely will take a slower, more deliberate approach to our goodbyes.
You've helped us remember the importance of that personal touch.
Before we transition to wrapping up, we both want to send our warmest wishes.
For a speedy recovery to Vegas Claw's mom.
We're thinking of you and sending positive vibes.
Now you're right. It's time to bring this deep dive to a thoughtful close.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Dave, walking through this with you.
We truly appreciate your engagement and insightful questions.
You've really helped shape the conversation today.
That interaction, especially about the Ethereum Foundation sales,
Really emphasizes the interplay between technology and market dynamics.
which is something we've been discussing throughout this show.
That competition ultimately drives innovation across the entire space.
As you highlighted with your question about market sentiment,
That really gives a much more complete picture of Ethereum's journey, both past and present, and its place in the market.
that brings us to the actual conclusion of the white paper and our show.
It closes by saying, through this protocol, the reader may implement a node on the Ethereum network,
And join others in a decentralized, secure social operating system.
and how contracts may be offered in order to algorithmically specify and autonomously enforce rules of interaction.
Which, when you look at it, they absolutely accomplish that core mission.
Even with all the challenges and competition we just discussed.
So thank you, Dave, for that excellent series of questions today.
And for making sure we covered all our bases and went deep.
It's been incredibly engaging, and we're truly grateful.
And to everyone in the channel, our friends who joined us live today.
Crypto Billy, Jesse, Michael, Alexander G, JR, Dutchy, Keith, BC Port Court, Jay Weilet, Hark, Joe from Traders Intuition, and Vegas Claw.
Thank you so much for tuning in this morning and making this so interactive.
We hope you gain some valuable insights into Ethereum's foundational design.
And its ongoing evolution from this original white paper.
Your contributions truly enrich these conversations for everyone.
Please make sure to mark your calendars.
And come back next Saturday,
At the same time, for more deep dives.
right here on Simple Terms.
We truly look forward to having you all join us again.
Thanks for making today's show so special, everyone.
Until next time.
All righty. So that was today's podcast. Man, I really love this technology. It just makes it so easy to digest for me. And that's what I love doing. I love the opportunity to come together with you guys and dive into stuff that at least I don't fully understand. And maybe even after each week, I still don't fully understand it, but at least I get to know a little bit more than what I knew before we got started. BC Port Corp, yes, we will eventually go back into the Ethereum 2.0 white paper, and we will have different versions of this. And I see you guys talking in the chat about all the things that we can discuss. And I think that we will eventually discuss other things like, who knows if we're talking about UFOs or Bigfoot or any variety of topics that we can have fun with. Of course, we're a crypto-based community, but that doesn't mean we don't have other interests in other things. So as I get to know this technology, as the technology evolves, I think we will have a chance to have a lot more fun with it. So I definitely appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank you, Mark Dutch. Thank you, Vegas Claw. Thank you, Joe from Traders and Trade Intuition, or Traders Intuition, as AI calls you so lovingly. Thank you, Crypto Billy, for coming. We appreciate the platform. We appreciate everything you do in the space. All Set Miner, thank you. Jesse, thank you. I hope you have a great day at your grandma's house today. Let's see here. Vegas Claw, of course, we hope a speedy recovery for your mom. JR, formerly known as Junior, good to see you this morning. Great to see you last night on Crypto Coin Mindset. What do they call Crypto on the Rocks? Keith, I appreciate you coming. Jay Violet, I appreciate you coming. Everybody, Alexandra G. And if I forgot anybody, please forgive me, but I do appreciate all of you folks for coming. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you sharing it out. I appreciate you sharing it with folks that may benefit from this stream. Of course, if you have ideas of what you want to see, put them in the chat, leave them in the comments, like a DM me, follow me on X _@DaveDigital or @_DaveDigital. And don't forget to follow our parent company and the BillyGoatTales network @BillyGoatTales on all major platforms. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody being here. And I think that'll do it for us. We love you. #GiversGain. And we're out.
In simple terms, we break it down. Complex stuff, we make it sound clear and easy for you and me. BillyGoatTales and Dave Digital bring knowledge we share. In simple terms, we're everywhere. We love you, fam. Hashtag givers gain.